And then I'm going to share my screen with you so that we can go through just a presentation with some information about the course itself. Okay, so here we are. Sorry, I'm just waiting for the spinning wheel to stop. Okay, so like I said, this is Biology 1028, Physiology for the Fitness and Health Promotion Program. First semester course, and welcome to your college learning experience. Now, can everybody see the entire screen, or is it just me that has a gray square up here? Yeah, nah. Okay, well, I apologize for that. So that's just a format of Screencast-O-Matic. What I might do is I'll go through this file because there's nothing critical in here in terms of course information like that you'll be tested on. But then what I may do is we'll take a break, at which point I'm going to shut my computer down, turn it back on again, and then start again. Sometimes Screencast-O-Matic just does that. That's a software program I use to record these and post later on. So we're going to basically talk about course. No, we're going to talk about the course, answer questions, and then give you a quick Blackboard orientation. So I'll introduce myself also. And this is me in a nutshell. My name is Matt Kohler. And basically, I started my PhD and did the coursework. When you do a PhD, it's a 4 to 6 year process. I did all the coursework, but I stopped short of doing candidacy exams where you're about to declare your final project. Just decided that was not the direction I want to take in life. I have a Master's of Education from York University in Toronto and a Honors Bachelor's Kinesiology from Lakehead also. And I'm a registered kinesiologist with the Ontario Kinesiology Association. I'm a certified exercise physiologist, and I also am part of the Ontario Kinesiology Association as a certified kin. In terms of my information, I've worked in industry for almost 30 years. Started my first job in high school, basically at the front desk of a fitness center. And in that time, I have experience with athletes, occupational clients, general population, and rehab population. So in terms of athletes, I've worked with everything from NHL to Special Olympics. Occupational clients, I still currently do fitness assessments on wildland firefighters. So in Canada, if you want to be a forest firefighter, you have to pass a fitness test. In Ontario, those positions are contract jobs, which means they work from year to year, and every year they need to pass the fitness test in order to have their contract renewed. I also work with the general population, still do some of that, and then also the rehab population. So I've worked with everything from people recovering from surgery, such as ACL reconstruction. They have mitral tendonitis they're trying to get past, all the way up to heart transplant patients, which is really interesting because they get those folks down in the rehab lab the next day after they've had a heart transplant. My email address is my first name dot my last name, matt.kohler at georgiancollege.ca. My extension for the phone is extension 1408. Probably right now with COVID, not the best way to get a hold of me. Right now, I'm broadcasting from off campus. My office when I am on campus is E Building 121 Charlie. And basically that's it. Now, best way to get a hold of me is to email me and include your student number. Just this way, if you have a scheduling question or a question specific to your academics, I can look up your file really quickly using your student number and be that much more responsive on my answers. So we'll talk about the course itself. And I mean, one thing you want to think about is why do you think we're taking this course? So, what's the purpose of taking a physiology course? And I want you to think about that for a second. Yeah, and my apologies for the blank square in the top left-hand corner. That's just a function of my recording software. However, that will, when we take a break, I'll restart my system, we'll reopen the room, and that should be gone. So in terms of physiology, you could go to the course description. So basically, this course provides a systems approach to the normal physiological processes of the body to maintain homeostasis. The content will provide the foundation of information which will allow an increased understanding of the changes seen under exercise that are studied further throughout the program. So the analogy I give to my students is think of it this way. If most of you are taking anatomy, and physiology this semester. Think of it as if you're looking at your cell phone. Your cell phone has tangible items on it. It has a speaker, a battery, a case, a touch screen, a microphone, one or two cameras, usually two cameras, a microprocessor, a circuit board, battery, all those things. Those you could think of as the anatomy of the phone. Physiology you can think of as the operating system and all the apps that are on that phone. So if you have an iPhone or if you have an Android phone, it's whichever operating system is relevant to that phone. You may have other apps such as WhatsApp, TikTok, Twitter, Blackboard, Banner, whatever the case may be. So you can think of physiology being like the operating system of your human body. The key concepts are we're looking at the function of the human body and we're looking at it in homeostasis, which means the body's ability to maintain itself in a state of rest. We will touch upon exercise, but in second semester you have a course called Exercise Physiology, and in Exercise Physiology, that's where you look more in detail in terms of what happens to the physiology of the body as you exercise or become physically active. And to give you an idea of the complexity of what we're dealing with, these are basically the biochemical pathways of the human body. So we can see here in the middle, you have the Krebs cycle, and then basically each component of this chart is an operation that is going on right now within every single cell of your body, and you have anywhere between 50 to 100 trillion cells within your body. So we are a complicated machine. In terms of resources, we use the 11th edition of Human Anatomy Physiology by Marieb and Home. This is on the course syllabus, which is online, and the course outline. Do I recommend you purchase this textbook? Yes, it's listed as a required textbook. So we try to be purposeful in this program that we only list textbooks as required if we really truly believe it's going to be beneficial for your studies and even for your career afterwards. When I went through my education, I continued to use my anatomy physiology textbook from my first degree all the way through the rest of my schooling and into my career. And the only reason why I stopped using that original textbook is because I started teaching at college level, and then I was teaching anatomy, and the publisher got me a copy of the textbook. And so now I have the benefit of having a copy of the textbook. In terms of hard copy or electronic edition, go with the version that works best for you. I find for myself, I prefer hard copy editions because I like to have something tangible. For myself, when I engage more of my senses, such as the weight of the book, the sound of the pages turning, the smell of the book, then I find that I benefit more than if I just have something on a tablet or a phone or a computer to read. There is a critical weekly path within Blackboard, and so on this, again, this can vary. But this is our guide in terms of what we will cover. This week, we're actually going to dive right into basically an introduction to the cell and the function of the cell. As you can see, we are a 14-week semester. I apologize, weeks 1, 2, and 3 are cut off, and a bit of 3 are cut off here. We do have a midterm in week 7, and we do have a final exam the last week of the semester in week 14. That will take place on the Tuesday of that week, which is the time right now. You do have 2 tests. You have a midterm exam and a final exam worth 30% each of your grade. There are 4 assignments. Each assignment builds on to each other, so they're not completely separate and distinct from each other. But the 4 assignments will basically help to lead to the next assignment. And the assignments in total are worth 30%. And we will review the assignments in our single period class depending on when I have you. So I have some of you on Mondays, some of you on Thursdays, some of you on Fridays. There are going to be weekly quizzes throughout the semester, and the quizzes will be in the assignment section of Blackboard. Now, one thing to note is you must complete what's called an academic integrity module. So when you go into Blackboard, you should see one of your Blackboard sites being this academic integrity module. You are required to complete that. If you don't, then you will receive 0 on the assignment. So basically how it works is if you don't complete it by the time the first assignment is due, which is only worth 2%, you get 0 on that assignment, regardless of whether you hand in the assignment or not. Keep in mind, though, that sometimes it's those little assignments of 2 and 3% that can really add to your success or not in the course. The academic integrity module should be completed by 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time of week 3 of the semester. So that would be Friday, September 24th. And again, if you don't do it, then you lose out on your assignment grades. So in terms of the course format, right now we have lecture components, and this is equivalent to 2 academic periods, which we are in today. And this is where we introduce the course material itself for basically physiology. And then your lab components is equivalent to 1 academic period, which is 50 minutes. So we have all the students, we have about 100 students in this course at this time, Tuesday, 2 to 3:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, the lectures will be recorded, and those recordings will be posted, but they'll only be posted for approximately 3 days. So we'll post them until about Thursday, and then 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday Friday, I should say. On Friday following our Tuesday class, those recordings will come down. The single period is basically an overview of the information for that week and their practical exercises. And the idea is we're college level, so we want to just not keep feeding you new information all the time, but we want to basically give you an opportunity to apply that information, to think through that information, make sure that you understand the information. In terms of the tips, use the terms and concepts every day. Now, this is fitness and health promotion, and don't assume because you're in fitness and health promotion that you and all of your classmates are regularly physically active. We do get students who are just interested in this field, or maybe they have a previous designation in a related field. So, for example, we do have internationally trained physiotherapists who will take this program. But what I would say is if you are not regularly active, become so now. If you can, exercise. If not, use the information that you learn from Introduction to Fitness and Health to become physically active. And then think about the terms and concepts every day. So when we talk about the skeletal muscles, the muscles that make you move, and you're going out for a walk or a jog or a swim or to lift weights, think about the operations involved in making those muscles move you. Review, review, review. The downside of this course is we have a lot of information in it. There's a high volume of information. For the majority of students, this information is new and novel to you. The good thing is this information is very objective. If we're talking about a certain type of cell, it is either a smooth muscle cell or a cardiac muscle cell or a skeletal muscle cell. So there are, retaining the information comes from reviewing, and test yourself. And one way to test yourself is perform the weekly online quizzes. So the quizzes themselves will become available every Friday at 4 p.m. and it'll be on that previous week's material. In total, you'll have somewhere between 10 to 12 quizzes, and they all make up a total of 10% of your grade. So if we only have 10 quizzes, it'll be 1% each. If we have 12 quizzes, they'll be slightly less than 1% each. The lectures will be posted in the weekly learning on Blackboard, and then the exams will be on Blackboard, and we'll talk about the format of that the week before we have the exam. The assignments, we'll cover the details for you. If you have lab on Monday, we'll cover the assignment details on Monday of next week. If you have lab Thursday or Friday, we'll cover the details of the lab or the assignments this week in your lab. In terms of communication, I do respond to all communication within 1 business day. So if you don't hear from me within a couple of business days, I probably did not receive your email. And the evaluations, the evaluation feedback. So the idea, especially with the assignments, is I will give you feedback on your assignments, and you will receive that feedback within 1 week. 2 weeks is my max. Sometimes life happens and it's a week and a half. But for the most part, my aim is to get you feedback on your assignments back to you within 1 week so that you can use that feedback to improve your next assignment and do a stellar job. So tips for success. This may be your first experience with college. This may be your second experience or third experience with post-secondary education. And by post-secondary education, I mean college, university, whatever the case may be. Keep in mind, this is adult learning. So a couple strategies from my experience and from research. First off, schedule in your class time. So what I would recommend is make up a document like this and post it on the wall in your study space so that you're aware of when you have classes. Set up a goal for yourself. I would even say right now, think about what you want to accomplish out of this class. So most people default, I want to get 85%, I want to get 95%, I just want to pass. I could tell you right now, students who say, well, I just want to pass, don't put yourself in that spot. Aim higher, right? What you aim for is what you're going to try and get. But also think about, what do you want to do after this diploma? Now, I recognize that some people want to go on to further education. Some people want to go straight into industry. Some people don't want to do anything in this industry. They just have an interest in this program and decide to take it. But think about, for this course, what do you want to retain and understand and comprehend? And how do you want to apply that? So you have a goal for yourself, but give yourself a plan, right? A goal without a plan is just a wish. So decide on how you want to accomplish that goal. So if you want to have a better understanding of a certain disease or condition or pathology, such as type 1 diabetes or heart disease or arthritis, then how will physiology get you to understand that? And how are you going to understand that information? Like, what are you going to do every day and every week in order to reach that goal? So if you're saying, yeah, I want to get 90% in this course, and I say, well, how are you going to accomplish that? And you go, well, I'm just going to work hard. Well, that's not good enough. What are you going to do every week? Well, I'm going to spend this much time reviewing the notes. I'm going to attend lectures. I'm going to make sure I do my assignments on time. I'm going to perform the quizzes. Also, one of the things is, think about, your schedule. So let's say this is your schedule. This is just a generic schedule that I use as an example. Once you have your schedule, then put in some time to review the information and put in some time to study the information. Because the general rule is, you'll need at least 1 hour outside of class for every hour inside of class. In general, during the semester, this is a 3-hour course, if you will. So you're going to be spending about 3 hours every week reviewing the information, studying for evaluations, performing assessments, whatever the case may be. And sometimes it may be 2 or 3 hours for every hour in class. So perform the readings, complete the assignments. Biggest lie I might tell myself is, I don't need to write that down, I'll remember it. Nope, you won't. So make sure that you make notes. And when I say make notes, it doesn't mean write down everything I say. Figure out a note-taking format that works for you. The student resources at the college, they have some great workshops on note-taking, different styles of note-taking. So make sure that you are writing down the information in a format that will assist you academically. And of course, there's active reading. And it's so sad that that big square is in the upper left-hand corner. But me reaching the end of the page, but realizing it's daydreaming and didn't actually read it. So you're not the only one who does this. This is something, and what we say is practice active reading. Now, there are workshops at the college and assistance for active reading. There are also YouTube videos on this, but reading an academic textbook, like your anatomy physiology textbook, is not the same as reading a book for pleasure. There's different ways around it. So, and again, unfortunately, this will be cut off, but scan the table of contents, scan the entire text, scan the glossary at the end of the chapter. So you get the chapter, you scan it, and where you're scanning it, you also scan summary questions at the end. Then read at a comprehension rate. This means read the information at a rate that you understand what's going on, and sometimes this means you have to review a paragraph 2 or 3 times. Make study notes. And making study notes doesn't mean writing everything down word for word from the textbook, but it means, making like, it discusses protein complex 4. What is that? I remember seeing that in the glossary. I'm going to have to look that up later on. And then scan the chapter to review. Test yourself. This is a really easy demonstration for anatomy physiology, because if I were to show you a diagram with all the labels, let's say I show you the leg muscles with all the leg muscles labeled, you go, oh yeah, of course, there's a rectus femoris and the vastus lateralis and the gastrocnemius. But if I remove those labels, could you still do that? So if I show you something complex such as the everyday cell with everything labeled, you go, okay, yeah, there's a mitochondria and there's a plasma membrane and there's a Golgi apparatus. But if I take away those labels, could you still identify those structures? General rule for college, check Blackboard at least once a day. Blackboard will be the primary mechanism by which your instructors are in communication with you. So check it at least once a day for announcements, for reminders, for tips. It's very frustrating on my part when at the end of the semester a student says, oh, but I didn't know I had an assignment due. Can I just submit it late? And we go, well, you can submit it, but it'll be graded as 0. And the student says, but I didn't know. And then that's where we go back and say, yeah, I announced it in this class, and here's a recording. And I posted this announcement on Blackboard, and also I sent an email out to all the students, and also it was in the assignment outline. So we are pretty good in this program at communicating with students the expectations. Respect your peers. We got a lot of people from around the world in this course, both domestically and here in Canada, but also internationally. So we have a lot of people with a good amount of experience and different experiences. So, just respect where everybody's coming from and ask questions. One thing to be aware of is if you're not certain of something, feel free to ask. If you have anything which might potentially interfere with your academic performance, let us know right away. So a good example is every semester I get students to say, oh, well, the reason why I failed the course is because, I had experience difficulty with my internet and the connection was slow and it kept cutting out. And I go, well, okay, but your semester started 3 months ago. Why are you telling this after the semester ended? Um, there was a question in the chat about how to make the assignments and where to take all the information. We will review the assignments in the single period class. So I will see you on your schedule. I have you for one 50-minute period, either Thursday, Friday, or Monday. During that time, I'll review the assignments and the expectations. Make sure you're familiar with college policies and procedures. So with college policies and procedures, good example is academic misconduct and academic integrity. So that's why we have students do the academic integrity module. By the way, we do have some students who are in second or third semester taking this course. So if you have completed the academic integrity module, I need either the certificate that you received when you completed it, yeah, that's basically it. Otherwise, you're going to have to do it again. But the good thing is it only takes 40 minutes. But college policies and procedures, for example, the last day of the semester is Friday, December 17th. Well, you decide that you and your family are going to go on a trip together, leaving Monday, December 13th. And then you say, oh, hey, I'm leaving on a trip. Can I have my exam early? I'm going to say no, because college policies and procedures say that unless it's an emergency, so, sadly, if there's a family tragedy or something happens that interferes with your ability to write the test, that is out of your control, and family trips are not out of your control, then you're not allowed to make up the exam. Make sure if you're going to miss an exam that you contact me prior to the start of the exam, and make sure that you get some documentation. Yeah, and we had another question about the academic integrity module. If you have the academic integrity module on your Blackboard, I should be able to see it. And so what I will do is in the grades section, I will create a column which says academic integrity module. And when it's complete, you'll see that, oh, he knows that I completed it. If you completed it and it shows, oh, it's not complete, let me know. I can run a report which should tell me, but sometimes, out of 100 students, we'll have possibly one student, for some reason it doesn't show that they completed it. I can talk to some of the information technology people. They can dig deeper into it and then say, yes, Matt, they did complete it, but this is why it's not showing up as being completed. Successful students think about thinking. So again, don't just expect things to happen. Start thinking about how are you going to approach this course and your other courses and ensure that you are successful in those courses. Okay, so at this point, we'll say, are there any questions? I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Stop sharing. And we'll see if there are any questions from anybody else.